You are currently sitting in a room full of people, listening to the muffled rhythm of voices that feel like static on a dead channel. Everyone around you seems to be dancing to a melody you simply cannot hear, their laughter hitting your ears like sharp, cold glass. It is a peculiar kind of violence, this feeling of being present in the body but absent from the experience. You have become an expert at the art of the nod, the polite smile, and the timely laugh, yet internally, you are screaming into a void that refuses to echo back. You feel as though you are a ghost haunting your own life, watching a projection of a person you are supposed to be, while the real you sits in the dark, wondering when the script will end. The fear isn't just that people won't like you, the terrifying truth is the nagging suspicion that, even if they truly saw you, there would be nothing there to hold on to. You are a phantom in the machinery of society, perpetually waiting for a door to open that might finally lead you home, even though you have long since forgotten what that place looks like. Every morning, the ritual of the mask begins. You adjust your expression in the mirror, checking to see if the cracks of the previous night have been sufficiently smoothed over by the exhaustion of sleep. It is a meticulous process, this curation of a self that is palatable to the world. You step outside, and immediately, the internal monologue turns into a frantic checklist of social obligations. Am I standing correctly? Does my voice sound too thin, too anxious, too demanding of space? You navigate the streets like a trespasser in a city that wasn't built for your frequency. Every interaction is a battlefield where you lose before you even speak. You observe others, their ease, their rootedness, the way they inhabit their limbs without apologizing for the space they occupy, and you feel like a draft of a human being, missing the final edit that makes everything make sense. The overthinking starts as a low hum, a background noise that eventually swells into a deafening roar. You replay conversations from 3 years ago, dissecting your own awkwardness, finding new ways to despise your past self for not being normal enough. The weight of this performance is suffocating. By the time you return to the sanctuary of your room, your physical body feels heavy, drained by the sheer effort of existing as a coherent character. You collapse, but the mind doesn't follow. It begins to spiral. What if this is it? What if this is the maximum capacity of your connection to humanity? You look at your phone, scrolling through faces that seem to belong to a different species. They are all connected, linked by invisible threads of belonging, while you are afraid and drifting away from the loom. You try to reach out, to bridge the gap with a text or a call, but your fingers freeze. You are terrified that if you reveal the depth of your isolation, the other person will see the emptiness and be repulsed. You have built a fortress out of your silence, and now you are beginning to realize that the walls you erected to keep the pain out have become the walls of your prison. You find yourself in public spaces, watching the flow of traffic or the movement of people in a cafe, and the sense of displacement sharpens. It is not that you hate them, it is that you envy their ability to just be. They are not dissecting their existence in real time. They are not waiting for the ground to give way beneath them. You feel like a malfunctioning character in a simulation, one that is becoming painfully aware of its own programming. You try to ground yourself by focusing on the sensation of your feet on the floor or the chill of the air, but these are only distractions, not solutions. The void is not outside of you, it is a landscape you have been walking through for years. It is in the way you suppress your true thoughts to avoid conflict, in the way you apologize for your presence, and in the way you treat your own needs as secondary to the comfort of the people you barely tolerate. You are dying a slow, quiet death, not from a lack of air, but from a lack of reflection. The hardest part is the realization that this isn't a temporary state of mind. It isn't a bad week or a seasonal slump. It is a fundamental misalignment. You are constantly searching for a map to a world where you actually fit, but every map you find only leads you back to the same intersection of anxiety and loneliness. You try to tell yourself that you are being dramatic, that you should just be grateful, that you should put yourself out there. But that is the cruelest advice of all. Putting yourself out there implies that there is a you that is ready to be received. You don't even know if you are a person or just a collection of reactions to other people's expectations. The fear of being discarded, not by others, but by life itself, keeps you pinned to the spot. You are scared that if you ever stopped performing, the world would move on without even noticing you were gone, like a book left on a bench in the rain, slowly losing its pages to the damp. In the quiet hours, when the city outside finally settles into a heavy, indifferent hush, you confront the mirror again. There is no one else to impress now. The mask is gone, but the face beneath is tired, aged by the weight of all the things you haven't dared to say. You realize that the feeling of being in exile isn't because you were kicked out of somewhere, it is because you never learned how to be invited in, and worse, you never learned how to invite yourself. You are the architect of your own exclusion. You have spent your entire life auditioning for a role in a play you never wanted to be a part of, while the true performance, the one where you are just yourself, has been waiting in the wings, entirely forgotten. The realization is not liberating, it is heavy, dense, and cold. You are alone, and the truth is that you are the only one who can decide whether that loneliness is a sentence or a sanctuary. You finally understand that the world isn't ignoring you, it is simply busy with its own illusions. You have been waiting for someone to validate your existence, to tell you that you have a right to be here, but that validation will never arrive, because nobody else is looking at you with the same intensity that you look at yourself. You are your own harshest judge, your own silent executioner. The fear of being discarded was just a ghost, a remnant of a child who thought they had to earn their seat at the table. You are still sitting in the chair, and the table is empty, but you are the one who hasn't started eating. The tragedy isn't that the world has no room for you, the tragedy is that you have been standing in the doorway for so long that you've forgotten you hold the key to walk through. You are the exile of your own creation, hiding in the shadows of a world that is waiting for you to simply step into the light and be whatever it is you truly are, regardless of the consequences. Everything around you is crowded with noise. Your soul is empty, waiting for a home.